Hello and welcome to this discussion on your IP or future with Creative First. Today's guest speaker is none other than Taran Adarsh, an esteemed trade analyst and film critic on Bollywood Hungama. Taran, welcome to this discussion. It's been a time of ups and downs for the industry, Taran, especially from a theatrical perspective. What are your views on the impact of the pandemic on the industry?
Well, if you ask me personally, it's been the worst 2 years for the film industry. We have faced many roadblocks, many speed breakers on the way. I mean, I have been monitoring or learning to watch Hindi cinema since the late 70s. I mean, 79, 80, I started. And then it's been it's been a good journey. And I've seen the industry go through various phases. But never have I seen a phase like this where everything was shut down. Not just the film industry. Across the globe, the world came to a standstill. We lost lives, we lost livelihoods, we lost a lot of business in terms of when you talk of cinema, movies did not release, theaters stopped functioning, a lot of single screens and multiplexes were shut down, and a lot of single screens are still shut down. So it's been a chaotic, very sad scenario. Never have I seen. I mean, we lost 2 precious years of everyone. Everyone lost their lives, and I think this is something that cannot be compensated in terms of monetary, financial, or in any which way. Because the thing is, say a film that was supposed to release in March or mid-March or early April. I'm talking of Suryavanshi. I'm talking of 83. Suryavanshi was supposed to come in March 2020. 83 in April 2020. And the release came to a halt. Now the producers didn't know what to do. They thought perhaps jab cinemaghar khulenge, we'll release the film. I spoke to Rohit Shetty. I spoke to the producer of 83 as well. So once the cinemas reopened in February, March the next year, slowly the audience started coming in. They thought they would release the film. But again, there was a lockdown. The cases started piling up. And again, the cinema industry was badly hit. And again, they had to postpone their release. A lot of films were announced in that period. So the investment, of course, you have lost a chunk of your investment, but your budget has shot up because of the interest that the producer had to pay to the financiers. So every film in the process went over budget. And that is something that when the film releases now, they'll have to rework on their economics in terms of actors slashing their prices or producers letting go, or the financiers letting go of a chunk of interest. I don't know how accommodative they are going to be, but it's going to be a tough scenario ahead. It's going to take time to come back on the track.
What about films that were being, shot or were under production?
Yeah, they came to a standstill. A lot of films that were announced, or they had just begun shooting, and they'd taken the dates of the major actors. Now imagine the actors sitting at home. You can't do anything. It's a lockdown. Everyone's sitting at home. Everything has come to a standstill. Everything, कहते ना सब कुछ रुक गया. पूरी दुनिया में, the cinema industry, here I'm talking about cinema, of course, the cinema industry world over came to a halt, grinding halt. It was a very unfortunate phase. But then that is something that was not in anyone's hands. I mean, a producer could not blame the actor for not turning up because there was no shooting happening. This was something that no one anticipated, no one was prepared for. And I think that is something that will, वो कहते हैं ना कि कुछ जख्म ऐसे होते हैं जो जिंदगी भर याद रहते हैं. This is one of those.
Right. Taran, but we did see a shift to OTT. A lot of films directly released on OTT.
Yes.
Was there a positive impact on the revenue side because of that?
Well, I think some makers, as I said, we just spoke about the interest factor. Or should we wait for cinemas to reopen? That was a tough call to make, and a few filmmakers did choose the OTT media, which is fair enough. So when the cinemas reopened, in I think early Jan of last year, February, I think, the multiplexes I spoke to resolved that they will not release those films that had premiered on OTT, that had bypassed the theatrical window. So they had made that resolve that all decided we'll only go for a film that is coming straight to us. Because earlier there was an 8-week window between a theatrical release and the OTT release of a film, which of course went away. And I think blame the producers, frankly, those producers who opted for OTT. OTT gave the producers the money. Of course, they lost out on the India theatrical and overseas theatrical business. I'm not denying that. But at least they had the money to pay off the debts, pay off the actors, pay off their staff, and begin on a clean slate. Unlike some producers who held back their films. Yash Raj, Rohit Shetty, 83, there are many other, Sajid Nadyarwala. They said, we'll wait. Whenever cinemas will reopen, we'll come in on the big screen and we'll wait for the big screen. We believe in the magic of big screen. And that's what is gave the confidence to the cinema owners.
Right. There has always been a clear divide between independent films and tentpole films, from the way they're scripted to the way they're marketed and monetized. What are production houses betting more on in the short and mid-term?
See, I've realized one thing, that in this period where the OTT became a major force, because people had no choice. They could not go to theater. They were watching films on the OTT, on one of those platforms. So the subscription rose during that phase, and a lot of producers and a lot of actors started looking at international stuff. Of course, we've been looking at international stuff. I'm not denying that, but they didn't get the time to actually go through many series at a point of time. I, for one, I never got the time, but I sat down to watch many shows on, if I can name, on Netflix and Amazon, international shows. I'd like to emphasize that. There was a certain show that I missed out on, and I started watching them. And that goes for the filmmakers also. And they realized that you need to give the audience different hatke cinema. At the same time, they realize the importance of OTT. And today, every production house, Yash Raj, Karan Johar, or name it, the leading production house, everyone for that matter, Nikhil Advani, they are making movies, yes, but they are making shows for OTT also, or series for OTT also. So even Ajay Devgan, for that matter, has diversified into making a series for OTT, which only goes to prove that, Shah Rukh Khan as well. So which only goes to prove that OTT is a very powerful medium. But can it replicate cinema halls? I doubt. That's my personal opinion. I am not against OTT. I'm all for big screen, frankly. And I genuinely feel that, yes, it gave a lot of people money to work on. OTT provided a lot of financial security to producers. OTT also gave jobs to a lot of industry people. And that's where I salute them. They came at a time where it was very important for the industry to survive. And had they not been there, it would have been very difficult for certain filmmakers. The big filmmakers would have convinced the financiers to forego a chunk of the interest factor. But for moderate, mid-range films, it would have been very difficult. And for them, that was the only out.
What is your view on the economics of a film, keeping in mind monetization of rights such as music, satellite, OTT? Especially, we went through the pandemic, there were no releases in theaters. So, how has the economics changed?
Well, not much, actually. As I said earlier, in the 70s and 80s, there used to be just two mediums of releasing a film. There was India theatrical, overseas theatrical. And of course, much later, films used to come on Doordarshan at that point of time. So the market had not grown the way it should have, like how it is today. But with the passage of time, today we have India theatrical, overseas theatrical, which is huge, a huge market again. After that, there's a window. Today, of course, the OTT releases have come after 4 weeks instead of the 8 weeks earlier, the window. Today, we have a film releasing on the OTT platform after 4 weeks. So I feel that today we have OTT, we have satellite television, we have music rights. And of course, the internet rights or, ringtones, music rights, of course. But, if a production house has complete hold on his film, on their film, then I think they can exploit the rights for as many avenues as they can.
So overall, you think the economics really add up, even if
yes, of course. The fact that today, when a producer plans a film, I mean, when you plan a Suryavanshi, the reason why Suryavanshi is a plus film, not on the basis of India theatrical or overseas theatrical alone, it's on the basis of pre-sales of satellite, digital, and of course, even 83 for that matter. They dubbed it in Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam, I think. Yes. And they had 3 more negatives for 83. And 3 more negatives mean, of course, theatrical, also satellite, and also digital, besides Hindi, of course. So that means additional revenue. But of course, if the film goes over budget, thanks to the interest factor, then of course, it's a financial burden on the producers and he can't really compensate for the loss.
So again, as you know, that a lot of places, theaters are shut or they're running in 50% capacity. We don't know. We're still dealing with the pandemic. So if one were to plan, and this is more for young filmmakers, if one were to plan the economics of a film, considering you also have other rights, how should one go about it?
Well, there are no set rules, actually, if you ask me. Because I feel that... but the thing is, a lot of actors today, in fact, all actors today, the leading actors, have turned producers. Sorry. Or are stakeholders. They hold a big chunk of share, a chunk of perhaps the revenue that comes out of the film, and they are demanding a share in profits. Everyone does that today. Either the film is a co-production, like Akshay Kumar has his company which co-produces his films, every film that he does, or for that matter, there's a partnership sharing ratio. I think today, see, a film, the theme of the film, the star cast of the film decides on the budget.
What if it's a small banner, and
it all depends, 3 crores, 4 crores, 5 crores, 6 crores. Right. But again, you can't expect every film to really work wonders at the box office. Right. You can't expect every film to be we're talking of a mid-range film, a Wednesday in today's times. Or for that matter, you can't expect any and every South film like KGF or the recent Pushpa in Hindi to actually work magic at the box office. So it's going to be the budgets actually vary from project to project, from star to star, because every star comes with a different price tag.
Are regional films the new pan-India content, and where is Bollywood lacking?
This is something that I really want to clear. Are regional films, by regional films I mean Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, are they pan-India films? But is this a new trend? Not at all. There have been actors from South who came in Hindi films earlier. Or there have been films that were dubbed in Hindi and emerged big hits. And I can give you, I can cite an example of a film called Roja, if you recall, Mani Ratnam, starring Arvind Swamy and Madhu with A.R. Rahman's music. Or for that matter, Kamal Haasan made his Hindi debut with a film called Ek Duje Ke Liye. And Rajnikant made his Hindi debut with a film called Andha Kanun. And Chiranjeevi made his Hindi debut. Chiranjeevi is the leading star of Telugu film. Made his Hindi debut with a film called Aaj Ka Gunda Raj. Now, after these films emerged success at the box office, a lot of producers started dubbing their films in Hindi language, their regional films. So it's not a new trend. Secondly, yes, today you see Bahubali, Bahubali 2, KGF, and now Pushpa Hindi emerging, sorry, money spinners at the box office. Now, how does one explain that? I would say this trend is here to stay. If at all you call it a trend, it's here to stay. Why? There are multiple reasons. And I think we ourselves are to blame for it. Bollywood has been making films, a lot of films. The recent films, actually, if you ask me, keeping the Bandra to Warsaw audience in mind. We target only the metros, the 5 metros. Beyond that, we've forgotten that there's a huge market out there that needs to be tapped. In the 1970s and 80s, if you recall those films, including Sholay, Amar Akbar Anthony, Parvarish, I mean, so many films. Dharmendra, Vinod Khanna, Shatrughan Sinha, Amitabh Bachchan. And Amitabh Bachchan used to have 6 or 7 films every year coming. And films in those days used to run for 25 weeks, 50, 50 weeks, 75 weeks, and 100 weeks also. Sholay still has that recall value even today, because it offered wholesome entertainment. As I said, we are not just, they were not looking only at the metros. And in today's times, South Indian cinema is offering wholesome entertainment. They are offering content to the multiplex audience, but at the same time, they are going beyond the multiplexes to villages, to rural areas, to the B and C centers, giving them entertainment, what they want to watch. A masala film, a true blue masala film. So if you look at S.S. Rajamouli's films, or if you look at KGF, or even recently Pushpa. Look at, I mean, Pushpa is a case study. Pushpa Hindi was released in the same week as Spider-Man.
Yes.
Okay. 2, it had to face another opposition in the form of 83 next week. It did not get any cinemas. 4th, it came during the pandemic. 5th, the actor flew down, Allu Arjun flew down to Mumbai on Thursday to promote his film, knowing that his film is leaving the next day on Friday, one day before. The film was censored on Thursday, a day before it was supposed to hit the screens in Hindi. In Hindi, I'm talking of. So many odds. But the power of strong word of mouth can supersede, can face any obstacle. So at the same time, I feel that the theaters need to control the ticket pricing. It's very important. When I mentioned about Pushpa, I had to add one more point, which I forgot. It was released without enhanced ticket rates.
Okay.
Because it was affordable for the common man. He doesn't mind spending 50 rupees, 70 rupees, 100 rupees or 200 rupees in a metro to go and watch a film. But अगर आपकी एक टिकट की प्राइस होगी 600 रुपए, 700 रुपए, how will a common man afford it?
You know, as you just mentioned, the great success of Pushpa, it crossed 338 crores. Could you share some insights on what has changed with respect to the Indian cinema goer? And, you know, what would be the takeaway from this for filmmakers?
You know, aren't we realizing? Go on Instagram, go on the reels. See the songs that are being played on Instagram and the reels, the songs that they're just shooting the videos on. It's Pushpa songs. It could be Telugu version, it could be the Hindi version. There was one more Telugu film that was supposed to release by Goldmine, the same producer, the right holder as Pushpa, Goldmine. Alla Vaikatapuramalu. It's a Telugu film which has premiered 2 years ago on Netflix. Do watch it.
Did you see any changes in marketing, especially in the pandemic when it was, you know, obviously your theatrical windows not existing? Did you see any changes in how?
Absolutely. At a point of time, I remember when I was growing up, we used to read the newspapers for those ads. कौन से theater में film आने वाली है? There used to be just 4 shows. We didn't have multiplexes in those days. So we used to have 12 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, and 9 to 12. And we used to do our bookings, advanced bookings and everything. But today it has shifted. So the promotions, the marketing, everything is shifted to social media. Today you have 3 major tools, if you ask me: Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, to promote, to reach out to a wider audience. I think today social media has taken off in a very big way. Today, producers have also realized this. And when I mentioned about Allu Arjun's popularity, it was basically because people have seen him on YouTube, or perhaps they have seen his clips, or they have seen somewhere, and on social media some clips or some songs, or you go on and you just listen to it, and then they have realized that it's the power of social media. Of course, that works. At the same time, they have realized that yes, this is what we want. The audience today is glued onto social media. They I feel that in today's times, any word that you want to spread, any news that you want to spread, you can do so within a second. Just click that and it's there. I mean, I just did the news break of Allu Vaikata Purablu not releasing the Hindi version of Allu Arjun. Someone, I did it in Mumbai, but someone in Australia, someone in America could be reading it at that same time. That's the power of social media. And I think producers have realized it. They're spending a substantial chunk of investment. Do you know Pushpa? We were just talking of Pushpa.
Yes.
Pushpa did their entire marketing campaign only on digital media, on social media. So that again is a big example for producers to reach out to the common man. Because today, as I said, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, sabke paas hai. But with YouTube along with it, you reach out to a huge chunk of population.
Right. Thank you for sharing such great insights. But to conclude, I wanted your views on what trends you see in 2022. What's really going to change? And let's also talk about how, content for the web or content for curated online platforms will also kind of evolve and change. What trends would you see?
Well, I feel that it's the same every year. We hope for the best, but I think what never changes is the fact that the audience wants good entertainment, wholesome entertainment. That is never going to change. Earlier in the 1970s and 80s, I go back to that era because films used to have recall value. People used to go and watch those films again in cinema halls. Like I have seen Sholay, the Minerva, 70 it was running there, 6 to 7 times just to see the magic on the big screen. And I feel that people will always go for a film or repeat a film if the content is strong enough.
For our young filmmakers, and again, when we're looking at economics, and your trade analysis background, what is the message that you would want to give our young audiences?
Well, it's important to, a lot of filmmakers that I've met recently, they are very inspired by Western films. It's good to be inspired by Western films. Watch Western films, yes. Watch Korean films, yes. Watch Italian films, yes. Watch Japanese films, yes. Watch Hollywood films, yes. But हमारे दर्शकों को हिंदी फिल्में पसंद आती हैं. If you go to watch a Hindi film, if you're going to watch a Hindi film, okay, it's like going to a thali restaurant, and what you're being served is Italian food. That's cheating, and the audience will not like it. Similarly, हिंदी फिल्मों की वेशभूषा में अगर आप एक अंग्रेजी फिल्म देंगे जिससे ऑडियंस रिलेट नहीं कर सकती, so the fall is imminent. And I think this goes for every aspiring filmmaker or someone who's entering the industry. It's very important to cater to the audience. Make films borrow the technology, but make films that are rooted in India.
So stay rooted in culture and of course, stay rooted in the content that you want to say.
Absolutely.
And narrate. So thank you so much, Taran.
Thank you.
This has been a great discussion and look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.